But thank you all for coming. So my name is Elizabeth Ellis. I am the studio director for the Toledo Design Collective. And we will get to what the Design Collective does in a little bit. So if you go to the next slide. So before we really kick off this workshop and introduce everybody around the table and all of our partners, we really want to reference everybody to the area we are talking about when we talk about the Garfield neighborhood. So the Garfield neighborhood is bounded by the Maumee River to the north, the interstate to the east, Ravine and Star to the south, and then Main Street to the west. And these boundaries also make sure to include both sides of Main Street. So we're actually taking the boundary to Euclid Avenue, but that's really the area that we're talking about in terms of Garfield. So if you go to the next slide. And I welcome Jody Gross from the East Toledo Family Center. Jody, can you introduce yourself and East Toledo Family Center and kind of just explain why we're here for this Garfield Community Plan?
Absolutely. Thanks, Elizabeth, and good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see some familiar faces on the screen here, so thank you, everyone, for joining us today. The East Toledo Family Center, through our community building efforts, in partnership with the Toledo Design Group, and also One Voice for East Toledo and many other partners, we are part of this plan to make sure that through our community building efforts that we get input on this master plan for the Garfield Heights neighborhood. And what's important about that for the East Toledo Family Center is that we think that the input from the residents and all other stakeholders are very key to making this plan successful. And our part in that will to be sure that we engage residents and other stakeholders, and so that their voice and what they would like to see in a master plan, and make sure that those ideas and that information is shared, and that residents and all stakeholders have that involvement. I think the other key piece of that is that this plan will be implemented through this process and then be approved by City Council, but it will be a plan that is the neighborhood stakeholders, so that we will implement it and carry it out after this process is complete. So I'm really excited about that piece, that we will take ownership of it and make sure that through East Toledo community leadership that it will be implemented and carried out. So that's our piece. The Family Center has been a part of the community for almost 120 years, and this is really important for us as well to make sure that this happens. So thank you for including us, and again, welcome everyone across the table. We're excited that you're with us today. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Yeah, thank you, Jody. So our agenda today is as follows, really making sure that there's time for introductions kind of around the table, having some time to kind of check in with everybody, going over the goals and timeline, and then a live survey will take up the bulk of this workshop, and then we'll kind of conclude with some resources to check out. So again, we just want to make sure that we have plenty of time to really hear from everybody around the table. So if you go to the next slide. So the Toledo Design Collective, we were founded in 2001 as a nonprofit planning and design agency, which really puts emphasis on the fact that all of our Toledo neighborhoods deserve to be heard in terms of what they want to see in both the short and long term for their community. So we were established under the mission that sustainable and equitable design should be a right of everyone and not just a privilege for those who can afford it. So this map on the screen shows all of Toledo and some of the neighborhoods that the TDC has worked in. We specifically work in and on neighborhood plans that become adopted by the City Council as an amendment to the city's 2020 master plan. So as Jody kind of referenced before, some of the most recent plans really include the work of the Old South End with Broadway Corridor Coalition, the Junction neighborhood with the Junction Coalition, and Monroe Auburn with Monroe Street Neighborhood Center. So within East Toledo, the 2008 Connecting the Pieces plan really looked at how to connect the different neighborhoods of East Toledo, and our focus in Garfield is really to build on that plan. along with other large developments that are currently happening that we'll kind of touch on later on in the presentation. And our goal is never to come in with a predetermined vision of the neighborhood, but rather to amplify and show what each community really wants to see for their neighborhood. So if you go to the next slide. And with that, we welcome Ruth Chang from Midstory, who the Design Collective has brought in as a consultant for this community plan. Ruth, can you talk about the work you do at Midstory?
Yes, thank you. My name is Ruth Chang. I'm a part of Midstory. We are a 501c3 educational media organization, started in 2018, and we create multimedia stories and research for communities in the post-industrial Midwest and situates us within the national and global dialogues. And our story really began with 4 young people who returned home after schooling and respective careers out on the East Coast. And we really had a heart to uplift the voice of the Midwest region and believe that it is powerful in the region and in the nation, and that we ourselves from the ground up could shape the perception of where we've been and also where we're going through the stories we tell. And we engage young people, high school and college age, to help create stories that impact how the region is being seen and heard around the nation. We were invited on in July, and I think this project is really meaningful to us because I think obviously there's a lot of things happening in East Toledo and especially on the riverfront, but this particular community plan is from the ground up and really looking for input from residents and local stakeholders, and that's really unique. Our goal in this project is really to create a East Toledo / Garfield Neighborhood video series, create media that engage people both within and without the area. And we're hoping specifically to hear from you, the stakeholders and residents who are present. And we'll be conducting virtual interviews through the next few months. And so my contact information, my email is on the slide, rchain@midstory.org. We're really looking for people who might be interested in sharing your experience, living in the neighborhood, history with us. And workshops like today is really important to reach in deeper into the experience living in the neighborhood and also to hear what the vision is moving forward. So looking forward to working alongside anyone who would reach out. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruth. All right, so, and then these are all of the partnering organizations kind of around the table. And because we have a small group today, I'm just gonna go ahead and call out everybody from the core planning team that I see that are around the table. So I'm going to start with Molly.
Hi, Molly Burns. I'm with the Toledo Design Collective. New to Toledo as of October, but happy to be here.
Thanks, Molly. Mike Young.
Mike Young from the Toledo Design Collective.
Thanks, Mike. Marty.
Good afternoon. Martin Jarrett. Okay, I've got an audio problem on it. Go ahead.
Thanks, Marty. I see Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean Stewart. I'm with the Design Collective.
Thanks, Sean. Nancy.
Hi, I'm Nancy Hirsch with the City of Toledo Planning Commission.
Thanks, Nancy. Who else do I see? Elizabeth.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Moore. I am the intern with Toledo Design Collective.
Perfect, thank you. I think that's everybody from our planning team. Okay, so now I think we want to kind of go around the table and hear from who else is at the table. So when I call your name, can you say who you are, where you're coming from, if you represent a specific organization or are just a East Toledo resident or business owner, and then one thing you're grateful for on this kind of hazy Wednesday afternoon here. So, Kelly.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kelly Maliski. I'm with Metro Parks Toledo, and really excited to be here. Really want to help Garfield Neighborhood and other neighborhoods in East Toledo, you know, take part in our parks, and especially the new park downtown, Glass City. I guess I'm thankful today. I don't know. I'm for everybody healthy right now. Family and friends that I know are healthy, especially with numbers going up in Lucas County. Just happy to be happy and healthy, and everybody to know that is right now. But thanks for having me.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. I'm going to go to the J. McCann iPad.
That's Julie McKeon. Yep.
Okay,
McKeon.
Julie. I think, Julie, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Julie McCann, and I'm the manager of the Birmingham Branch Library, and we are the closest library to the Garfield community. I've been in Birmingham for 24 years, and we've had a lot of challenges with COVID because, we're kind of a youth center for the neighborhood, and we haven't been able to have the kids meet. So they're challenged getting together, finding things to do that are productive and not destructive. So that's been my challenge. But I'm grateful that the neighborhood is still coming together, and we're still keeping on. But we need to be able to get together again to offer the services that our kids need. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Demetrius?
Hi, so my name is Demetrius. Moved to Toledo in last of October. I guess the challenge most during COVID was being able to do what needed to be done in the city, because there are some difficulties with coming from Cleveland, where we have more resources and stuff. Being able to get to and from, or how do I say this, accomplish goals is much easier than Cleveland and then in Toledo. So being with COVID in the process, everything becomes much harder. Something I'm grateful for. Not getting sick yet. Working in hospitality, I'm around a lot of people, so that's something I'm grateful for.
Great. Thanks, Demetrius. Aaron Tupper?
I'm Erin Tupper. I work for Councilmember Teresa Gaddis. One of the most challenging things during COVID is working from home. And one of the things I'm most grateful for is working from home, because I've gotten to see my kids a lot more. But it's also been hard to do work for the city. We do a lot of resident outreach, and it's hard to really connect with people. So it's nice to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. And then Linda Beal, who's from the Toledo Design Collective, but not directly on this core planning team. Linda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Linda Beal, Toledo Design Collective.
And then what has been a challenge, and then what you're most grateful for?
I think our biggest challenge was transitioning to online teaching, and particularly within a kind of hybrid structure in terms of employment. What I'm grateful for is I think many of the organizations, the university, and certainly the TDC were able to really take a very powerful advantage of the new digital environment and really push that in a way that we had not done before. And I think that's been extremely beneficial for all of our projects. It does not mean that I would want to replace what we had previously, but it has certainly provided some additional opportunities for engagement with constituencies and with other design collectives as well.
Great. Thanks, Linda. And then Marty McIntyre, I know you showed up to another workshop, but you reintroduce yourself for the group.
Hi, I'm Marty McIntyre, and I'm with MCI Design. And my challenges and my gratitudes are really intertwined because it is the opportunity to do things working out of my home, working in an environment where I have to learn a lot of technology, but I can also share a lot of technology. And the things that I'm learning are things that can be given and shared with other business owners in the community. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to reach out and connect with others, and that people are so willing to share information. It's really been wonderful and very encouraging to see. And thanks.
Great. Thanks, Marty. And I think that's everybody, unless I think I got everybody. You can move on to the next one. All right. So why are we here now? So like we had mentioned before, that 2008 Connecting the Pieces plan made good recommendations for how to connect to the river and also how to revitalize the Main and Star business districts. There has really been new developments that we've seen go along the river also, including the Marina Lofts and the new Glass City Metro Park. And this plan's goal is to really build off of that current momentum of these developments while also making sure that residents and stakeholder voices are central to this Garfield specific plan. So the end deliverable for this plan will be a planning document that will become an amendment to the 2020 City of Toledo Master Plan, as Jody referenced before.
And so to build off of what Elizabeth has said, this document, it will be full of design strategies based on community input, and hopefully this is what the community can use to shape its land use and zoning, access to public transportation, how they handle common facilities and resources, whether they need to build on what's existing or maybe develop something new. Same goes for housing available, and also just being able to work and supplement the existing population and economy. And those are just all factors that, all things that can be improved with a community having a solid plan. And so where stakeholders come in, whether or not you are from Waite High School, Garfield Elementary, you attend church in the area, you own a business, you're a resident, like this plan is for you. And I need to pull up my notes. The feedback and your experiences are invaluable. And, as Jody mentioned at the beginning, hopefully, they can take that plan and oversee how it's implemented, whether it's internally or you get, people from outside wanting to develop something. And, the ability to do that or implement things in the plan are going to be based on capacity building. We know East Toledo is such a tight-knit group, but it's like, how do we focus our energy, on this region specifically, and then hopefully spread that energy to do more planning for other areas in East Toledo. And I think, I have on here youth outreach. You're really taking advantage of the public schools in the area and getting kids excited about what their neighborhood could look like going into the future.
So to talk about the timeline, we began in July with gathering with this core planning team, all of the different organizations that you see around the table, and then some more. And looking forward, we'll be wrapping up this plan July of 2021. So if you go to the next piece. So data gathering, we are currently wrapping up this piece of the plan right now. You might have seen us, Liz Moore or Molly, out in the community, or some of the other East Toledo Family Center folks or other Toledo Design Collective folks out in the community flyering. So at this point in our timeline data gathering really helps pinpoints all of the relevant information and kind of maps out everything up to this point in the planning process. So it helps set the stage and inform of what is working and what is potentially not working. And it includes all things kind of on the screen, including zoning, documenting tree canopy, crime, bus routes, walkability, existing planning documents. You can see the other ones as well. And then design exploration is the next phase. So this phase takes the ideas from the neighborhood and helps set up a framework. So this is kind of the next phase that we're looking to have over the next couple of months. It lays out all of these conceptual ideas for what is possible within the neighborhood. And then the last piece is refinement, and this brings all of the pieces of the document together and really helps lay out an action plan with both short and long-term implementation pieces for the neighborhood to build off of. And then throughout the entire process is neighborhood engagement. So without engagement, we would not be able to fulfill our mission to make this process as easy to access and participate as possible. So this piece is so vital as it builds on neighborhood capacity after the plan is complete, so those visions imagined in the design exploration phase can become realized. Which builds into what Molly's going to talk about next.